Now, on to our second award this evening, the Sony Impact Award. Now, this recognises the work of freelance journalists working in long-form current affairs video that examines a single issue, story or situation and has an impact on the viewer, policy or public awareness. Now, this year, the judges again found it very challenging to narrow it down to 3 finalists and wanted to make a special commendation to Paul Miles and Chris Walter for their work, Mayor on the Front Line, Democracy in Crisis, commissioned by BBC Africa. Now, the judges said this was a rare and intimate portrait of a female leader, conveying with rich detail the complexities of an African democracy under threat. So well done to Paul and Chris. So now, on to our first finalists, Josh Baker, Sarah Obedat, and Isabel Young for their film, The Other War, for the BBC. A powerful piece of investigative journalism working deep inside the occupied West Bank. Let's have a look.
I mean, this is the entrance to the camp here, and stretches all the way down here. Complete destruction. All these buildings have been mowed down. The roads have been razed. The whole city is on lockdown. You can see some Israeli military vehicles up there.
The Other War is attempting to tell a very complicated story in a digestible, immediate, and clear way. It's a very balanced documentary. It goes out of its way to listen to both sides, to all sides. Some of the scenes in it are vivid and very compelling. So it's a very mature, authoritative and impressive piece of work.
The Other War was another standout project. I think the level of impact that this project had was really noted by all of the jury. I think it serves a really important role in explaining the rules of engagement for the military involved in this war. Also, the fact that the UN rapporteur said that this could be used as evidence of war crimes serves a really purposeful role.
Knowing that an Arab producer had gone into that conference and then reading about the racism that she experienced and still doing her job during that, I thought it was very brave of her.
We also felt that Isabel was a fantastic on-screen journalist. She showed neutrality in very difficult circumstances, as well as really rigorous journalism. We also noticed that producer Sarah was put into incredibly stressful situations, but managed to capture really important material from it.
It's a really thought-provoking film. Now, our second finalist in this category is Vanessa Bowles from Lebanon and Jabba Jihad Badwan from Palestine for their film Kill Zone Inside Gaza. The story of the Israeli military assault on Gaza seen through the eyes of children, journalists and doctors. So let's have a look and hear what the judges had to say.
Gaza has lived through many painful wars, but this one is like no other.
Kill Zone made it onto the shortlist because it's a highly ambitious, magisterial piece of filmmaking that attempts to tell a very complicated story set over a very involved period of time using real people.
You know, we can't get into Gaza, so we have no idea what's going on, and having local freelancers there living and experiencing the horrors of war, it was incredible to get access like that we wouldn't get.
And then there's also a series of scenes set in hospitals, and we kind of experience the story of those hospitals as they start off in good order, and we see their kind of demise, their collapse, and the dedication of the hospital staff and the ambulance drivers. But it's the proximity, the intimacy, which makes this film extraordinary.
Kill Zone was a real standout project for us. We were really considering the circumstances of the freelancers there and looking at the unbelievably difficult circumstances that they were filming in. The fact that they are the only people allowed into Gaza to bear testament to what they were witnessing felt like a real standout project.
Our third finalist for the Sony Impact Award is a team of freelance journalists working together between Russia and the UK. Evan Williams, Vladimir Sevrinovsky, Oksana Serbinova, Anastasia Taniskova, and Melanie Quigley with their film Hunting Russia's Lost Sons, Dispatches for Channel 4. Filmed over a year, this is a deeply moving film following the families of missing Russians trying to trace their loved ones. Let's have a look and hear what the judges thought.
This is the story of the Russian women fighting their own war for information about their missing loved ones. They're up against a bureaucracy that doesn't help and a military that barely responds.
Hunting Russia's Lost Sons made the shortlist for us because it was another standout project. It was a beautifully crafted film. The diverse spread of contributors, I think, was really impactful. We got a sense that it's not just young men that were involved in this story, but convicts, those from a sort of poorer, harder to reach communities. So that geographical spread was really interesting.
Nobody really understands the lives of ordinary Russian mothers who then find themselves caught up in a political struggle that they didn't understand. These women slowly realize that the system in which they live has turned against them.
You're thinking this is in Russia where there is no freedom of speech and you can't just, you're not open to telling your stories and criticize the government in the way you are in the West.
I loved the political sophistication of this documentary, and I also loved its portrait of ordinary Russian women who are taking the first steps towards political understanding.
Watching these finalists just makes you so proud to be a journalist. Really extraordinary stuff. So those are the 3 Sony Impact Award finalists, all stories with extraordinary impact. And it's worth mentioning, by the way, that Sony were founding sponsors of the Rory Peck Awards and have been loyal in their support of the Trust all these years. So there's quite a legacy. A big thank you to Sony. And to announce the winner, please welcome to the stage James Leach, Category Head at Sony Europe.
Hello and good evening, everyone. It's a real pleasure for me to be here again, presenting the award on behalf of Sony. I've actually been a judge for these awards for the last 4 years, and so this year has been really, truly eye-opening for me. I'm still humbled by the bravery and the determination of the freelance journalists and the belief that the Rory Peck Trust does essential work for this amazing group of people. And as we have seen, the content behind news journalism for work this year has been truly unprecedented. As mentioned, Sony has been a part of these awards for nearly 3 decades now, but our tools have evolved tremendously, aiming not only to be reliable and provide great quality for the art, but also to make sure that content can be recorded securely and rapidly so that all the journalists can concentrate on delivering their own stories safely. So thank you to the Rory Peck Trust for the vital support you bring to the world's most talented freelancers. So I'm now going to announce the Sony Impact Award for Current Affairs winner. And I'm also pleased that we will be giving them a new Sony FX6 camera in recognition for their hard...
Yeah.
Okay. So the 2024 Sony Impact Award for Current Affairs goes to Vanessa Bowles and Jabba Jahab Badwan.
Wow. I mean, bear with me, please. It's not short and sweet. So thank you to the Rory Peck Trust for recognizing Kill Zone inside Gaza. This honor belongs to the Palestinian contributors, journalists, and filmmakers in Gaza who continue to brave the unimaginable. We've had over a year of bearing witness to this crime against humanity, which has been presented to us as self-defense. How hard it was to learn about the futility of international law that was supposedly designed to safeguard civilians. It's difficult to stand here without my co-nominee, our director of photography, the kindest of people, Jabir Badwan. The paralyzing blockade has made it impossible for him to join us tonight. Jabir, who has witnessed the killing of colleagues and loved ones, one after the other, and still risks his life every day to document what's happening. I hope one day we can meet and celebrate your achievement. Also, this camera is yours, Jabir. I mean, one day when we are able, you'll take it, I'll borrow it for a bit. To the photojournalist Ali Jadallah, who lost his father and 4 siblings in one airstrike on the 3rd day of the war, and continues to take photos in covering the war. I'm in awe of your perseverance. I can only hope that knowing that the world has witnessed your tragedy offers you some small solace. To Hind al-Khadari, Abd Riyash, Muhammad al-Masri, and the community of journalists, your friendships amidst the carnage gave us hope that humanity endures, even in the darkest times. Minna Hijazi, our assistant producer, showed incredible strength, pointing out her destroyed home in Gaza in footage we were reviewing on the very first day of her work. Her family was displayed throughout the production, yet she worked tirelessly to help make this project happen. Many of our team carried the unbearable weight of personal loss, but they pressed on. Our hearts broke over and over again every single day. I cannot bear looking at another lifeless small body anymore. The footage we gathered featured so many. Just 2 days ago, the film's music composer, Muhammad Safa, his grandmother and her helper were killed in an airstrike in Beirut, my home city, mere hours before the ceasefire. Israel's final punitive and psychopathic strikes escalated to colossal and monstrous proportions on the final night. The irony that this was the way to prepare for supposed peace. I want to highlight the journalist Fadi al-Wahidi, who I'd reached out to in last February, as he was one of the last remaining journalists in northern Gaza. I had hoped we could collaborate, but he was in the midst of relocating, seeking shelter. Our partnership was never to be. This October, while covering the ground invasion of Jabalia refugee camp, Fadi was shot in the neck by an Israeli sniper, resulting in him being paralyzed. He was wearing clearly marked protective press gear. Israeli authorities have refused to allow him to leave Gaza for the urgent treatment he desperately needs. As a commitment to the generations after us, we really need to fight for our humanity. A tribute to everyone at Basement Films who have made 3 films about Gaza on the trot in the space of a year. Executive producer Ben DePere and Commissioner Naveen Mabro. There are very few occasions in my career where I've been so deeply supported. I so appreciate the humanity you keep. And thank you, Annabelle, Rob, Tom, and Mel, mainly for putting up with me turning up a bit late every morning. But mainly, I mean, the final thing I want to say is that what's happening in Gaza and the West Bank sets a precedent that nowhere in the world is safe. The Palestinian people have the right to exist. They have the right to protection from erasure. And what we have before us is a century-long project of systematic state-organized displacement, settler colonialism aimed at erasing Palestinians. It's not happening in a vacuum. Free Palestine. Thank you.
Many congratulations, Vanessa, and to Jabba Jihad, who couldn't be with us. Now, let us welcome to the stage our other outstanding finalists in this category. Firstly, Evan Williams and Melanie Quigley for Hunting Russia's Lost Sons.
Well, it's a bit hard to follow that, I've got to say. First of all, I'd just like to say thank you very much to the judges, because the fact that the film got up and got recognised is a huge achievement for our Russian colleagues. What this film was all about really was us facilitating Russian colleagues working in incredibly difficult circumstances, dangerous circumstances, every day to try and keep free media alive in their country. And the project that we developed was about humans, about the women you talked about, Clive. It was about what's the experience of the average Russian citizen with this terrible war. And it was a window into a world we're not seeing anywhere else because of these controls. So the fact that we've been on the finalist list is fantastic for them. It's a great encouragement for all the Russians who are trying to keep free media alive. I want to really thank Naveen Nabro and Joe Potts at Channel 4 for getting behind the project right from the beginning, even when it looked like we might not get any footage out of Russia at all, although I never told them that. For Mel, for being with me at the coalface the entire time. And I just want to really leave you with a little sign of hope. I was talking to our ROM colleagues. So ROM is the Russian media organisation we made this film with. They've got people inside the country, as I say, trying to make independent media every day. And I've been told that 70% of their material, of ROM's material, is now being watched by Russians inside Russia. So collectively, what we're all doing can make a difference. Slowly, but it is getting there. So I just want to pass that on.
Make a difference, that is what it's all about. Well, sadly, our other finalist team behind The Other War, Josh Baker, Sarah Obeidat and Isabel Young, couldn't make it here tonight, but they have sent this message instead.
Hello, everyone. I'm sorry that Sarah and I can't be there tonight. We are in Jerusalem and Isabel is on her honeymoon. But I wanted to say a quick thank you to the Trust for the nomination and for supporting me throughout my journalistic career. And most importantly,
we wanted to say a huge congratulations to Vanessa and Jabir and the 12 Palestinian journalists who documented what's going on inside Gaza. Being nominated alongside you guys is an honor.
I think the fact that you have made this film at a time when so many of our tribe are being killed there means an awful lot to us, and we really admire what you guys have done.
So congrats and enjoy the evening.
Take care.
Bye.